Mike Cardano with Roto Experts and the Fantasy Sports Network here with you, and I'm here to help put the odds of winning in daily fantasy gaming in your favor. You know, I get almost as many questions about how to go about playing daily fantasy as I do about what players to play on any given day. Viewers seem genuinely interested in actually doing their own due diligence and fielding rosters based on factors that will put the odds of winning in their favor, rather than just picking their favorite players or playing hunches. And that's a good thing, because that's what separates this from gambling. That's the process that makes this a game of skill rather than a game of chance. Now, it's also the reason that you see so many of the same winners popping up on daily fantasy sites so often. So, what are some of the strategies of guys who are successful more often than not in daily fantasy baseball? Well, you have to pay attention to the weather, right? You have to make sure that games are not going to be postponed. You don't want to go with zeros. And if you want to use a pitcher in a game that may look iffy, well, maybe you want to avoid him that day because there may be a lengthy rain delay and he may not come back out after the rain delay. You have to pay attention to ballpark factors. All things being equal, the odds favor more runs being scored in a place like Colorado than it will like San Diego. You need to look at batter and pitcher matchups. And if there's enough data, historical success rates become relevant. Lefty-righty splits, well, some batters hit better against righties or lefties, and the same goes for pitchers, who have more success against lineups filled with more lefties or righties against them. How about guys who are streaking or slumping? Well, that's often relevant. And you have salary caps. So you only have so much money to spend, and so you need to be concerned with the price you pay for each player and decide when it's best to pay up for a player you desire to use and when it's not. And different daily sites have different roster compositions. For instance, FanDuel uses just one pitcher. DraftKings, it's a two-pitcher format. DraftStreet, 3. And then the composition of the offensive players you use is different on each side as well. And so are the salary cap numbers. So each side is tailored towards structuring your roster towards different strength. And you often hear me talk about the term stacking. Well, that's simply trying to find a weakness in a pitching matchup against a team and trying to plug as many batters from the opposing lineup as possible in it to take advantage of it. Now, in blackjack, for instance, you would double down when you felt the odds were in your favor. That's the skillful strategy you would use to help take advantage of an otherwise random outcome and place the chances of winning the maximum amount of money in your favor. If you were at the store and there was a sale on widgets that you found was a compelling value, well, maybe you'd buy a bunch of them and stock up on them because it's an efficient use of your money. And then that would allow you to spend more money on other highly more productive widgets. Here, the widgets of players. Now, often daily fantasy players will look at Las Vegas over-under lines to help them identify games where the masses feel that there will be a lot of offense or good pitching performances. Then they drill down from there, selecting players from those two teams in their lineups based on further research. So those are just some of the items that successful daily fantasy players use on a daily basis. Now, there's no one right way to skin the cat, and some guys have certain statistics or triggers that are more important to them than others. Now, there's one thing for sure, though. Being routinely successful in daily fantasy takes quite a bit of work. Can you win on any given day by just picking random players with a hunch? Sure you can. It's not going to work if you play very often.